Hi everybody, thanks for joining Chat and Craft with Lorraine tonight. I am Lorraine Tierney and I'm an independent demonstrator in New Hampshire in the United States. We're going to play with this Ice Cream Swirls stamp set tonight. Summertime seems like a great time to make a card that focuses on ice cream, and I'm a huge lover of all things ice cream, so I thought this would be fun. We're also going to use a couple of other new products tonight, so I hope you'll enjoy that. I'm going to switch my camera over and we can get started. It's Wednesday. I almost said Monday. I usually go live on Mondays. It's Wednesday, August 7th, by the way. Please say hello if you're watching, and please let me know where you're from if it's your first time. Hi, Anne, watching in Arizona. Yay! I'm glad you caught me live tonight. That's great. All right, so let's go to this view. So this is the stamp set or the bundle that we're going to use. Ice Cream Swirls. Oops, I have some extra pieces over here. So it has some dies and it has some stamps that we're going to use tonight. So the first stamp we are going to use is this ice cream cone. And let's put it on this bigger one. And let's do a little building of this card because I'm already getting mixed up with all these pieces here. So let's take care of some of these pieces. I have a thick basic white card base that's 8.5 by 5.5, and it's scored at 4 1/4. And then I have, that does not look right. This should be, well, let's see. Let's do it this way. I'm going to cut a piece of the Designer Series paper, the In Color pack that comes with several patterns for each color. I've used almost all of my Pretty in Pink because I love that color so much. You can see the different patterns there. It's fun. So this I'm going to cut to 3 3/4 by 5. And apparently I've not cut that crumb cake piece to the right size. So 3 3/4. Hi, Jackie. All right. And now I want, which piece was I doing here? This piece to be 1/8 of an inch bigger. Okay, so it's this piece here. So it looks like it's 5 1/8. And instead of 3 3/4, I want it 3 7/8. All right. And we're just going to layer these two pieces together, and then we'll put them on the front of the card base, and then I won't do my stamping on these in error. I love the combination of the Pretty in Pink and a little crumb cake. And this size just gives you a little bit bigger border around it, and I do like that, especially when it's on a white card base. I feel like it gives it a nice clean look. All right, so that's going to go over there. We're going to need this and we need this. Okay, so we're going to use a little pecan pie ink to stamp our ice cream cone. I'm just inking that up, and I'm going to put it here. And then we'll use the ice cream cone die to cut this out, even though the ice cream cone die cuts 2 ice cream cones, and then it can fold in the middle and open up almost like a card. I'm just going to run this through like this, and it's just going to cut out the 1 ice cream cone. So let me bring that over here and run that through my stamp and cut and emboss machine. Okay. And now we have our cone. The next thing we need to do is get some ice cream for our cone. So let me put this back. There is an ice cream stamp, this one right here. I could stamp that. Hi, Jackie. Jackie, I am feeling mostly better. You could stamp the ice cream, or we can die cut the ice cream. And that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to die cut out, I think this looks like soft serve, the soft serve piece, and then another piece that will make it 3D a little bit, and I'm just going to run this through my stamp and cut and emboss machine. There we go. And that cuts through very nicely and easily. There's the ice cream. And then these little pieces fall out. Some people use glimmer paper and piece together some ice cream. I'm going to keep this pretty simple and pretty much like vanilla soft serve, or maybe a maple creamy. And if you know, you know just how wonderful a maple creamy is. All right, so I'm going to pop this up with some dimensionals. And I'm going to put a little one right here. And then there's a little spot over here where there's really nothing to anchor this on, so I just put a dot of glue there. I have a piece of fuzz. Okay. So there we go. And this is going to get glued onto the top of the cone. I think I'll put my glue right there. And then put that on. Whoops. The edge of my cone was poking out. Don't want that to happen. Okay. And this is going to go right on the front of our card. I've made a few of these recently. You can put it off to the side a little bit if you want, or the other side, or kind of, I don't think I've done one at an angle. Let's do one at an angle a little bit. I've been making these for some team celebrations. Okay, so that's going to go just like that. Now we need a sentiment on there, and I want this to say, let's celebrate you. So I'm going to use some stamps from this iconic imagery set. This is an online exclusive. So we're going to use the let's, the celebrate, and the you. And we're going to use, it comes with dies, some label dies, and then dies that cut out the candle, the hearts, the berries, the flames, the trees, It's really cool. Very nice set. All right, so let's get what we need here. I need to clean off this ice cream cone so I can take that stamp off. And we'll put on Celebrate. And then I'm going to put the U and the Let's on this little block. And we'll cut those out separately. Okay, so we're going to use some cool vellum tonight. This is vellum that was also an online exclusive. Let me show it to you. So it comes with 6 sheets, 2 sheets of 3 different patterns. So one sheet is, whoops, this goes with something else. One sheet is this white, it almost looks like a denim print to me. But you can see that you see through it a little bit. This matches the green and gold stamp set. And I think the dies from green and gold cut some of these out. This is another piece of vellum with the greenery. And here's a full sheet of that white. So it's really cool vellum. So we are going to cut, now I put it all back, cut this label out of this piece of vellum. So let me run that through. I seem to be doing a lot of die cutting tonight. And I left the plate over there. That was a strange noise that my cut and emboss machine just made. I don't know if you can hear that, but I don't know what it was. All right, so we are going to emboss on this with some copper embossing powder. So I'm going to use my embossing buddy to get rid of any static on there. And here's my Celebrate stamp. And I'll use my Versamark. Thanks, Cheryl. I am feeling better. And we're going to stamp this right on this piece of vellum. Well, it looks like there's a little blue ink on that. I hope it's not going to come off. Nope, we're good. Okay. And now I have my copper embossing powder in here. I'm sorry to say this is not the new Wow embossing powders. I did order those, but as you can see, I have a fair amount of this to use up. And I know you'll understand if I don't want to just get rid of this. I'll just have to do a lot of embossing. All right, so now we'll melt that. I'll hold this with the little tweezers. Let me heat this up a little bit. I always get embossing powder where I don't want it. I love watching this melt. Embossing is just such a fun technique. Here it goes. It's melting. Okay. So that's our Celebrate, which is going to go just like that in a minute. But let's stamp our Let's and You. And I could do these in the heat embossing also, but because I'm putting them just on a piece of white, I thought I would just stamp them. They're on one of those pieces that you're left with when you cut your 5 1/4 by 4 pieces. It doesn't melt the vellum, but the embossing powder, yes, does melt on the vellum. Yep. Yep. And now I'm going to cut these out, and I'm going to trim them down just a little bit. Okay, so we have let's, and we have you. Okay, now one thing that I've noticed about this vellum is that the stamp and seal doesn't really show through, and usually it does with vellum, so that's kind of interesting. So I'm going to put some stamp and seal where the Celebrate is, hide it there, and then I'm going to put a little bit where the Let's would go and where the U is going to go, just in case. Whoops, sorry if I'm coming out. There we go. But you can see that you can't really see the adhesive through that, which is very different. All right, and now we'll put the Let's, whoops, up there, and the U. Okay, I'm going to put another little bit right there. And I don't like it floating quite so much. There we go. And on the inside, we're going to use the copper clay ink and a different stamp set. This Fun Racing By stamp set has a way to go. And so I thought we'd say that on the inside. Let's get these off. And we'll put way to go on. And I'm going to use the copper clay again. And I realize I didn't bring over any bling. I'm going to have to go get, I can't see if that's straight when it's that far away. Go get a little bling. Oh, I got some ink on the inside. What are we going to do over here? Oh, do I have a little star? I do have a little star. Let's stamp a star to cover that up. There's a little star in here. We'll have to put a couple of these on to make it look like that one is the open star. I did not pay attention. I want the star that is solid. Ah, that one's over here. Okay, let's try it again. There we go. And we'll put one here and one up there. How's that? Make it look like those belong. Just creative opportunities, right? I have ink on my hands, and let's see what I can find quickly for some bling. Here's a couple different things. I have some pearls, some plain opaque dots. Yeah, and those colors are not quite right. So I think I'll just do some little white dots here, just to give it a little something. There you go. So here's our card. Let's celebrate you. And then on the inside, it says way to go. And I think this is a fun card for any kind of summertime celebration. Let me move back to this. So it could be celebrating like a milestone for a team member, or maybe a softball team won a championship, or your grandchild went away to camp for the first time. There's all kinds of summer events you could celebrate. So that Ice Cream Swirl stamp set is a really fun one to use with that, and I think this iconic imagery from the online exclusives is going to come in very handy. I'm going to enjoy that. I love the grateful also. Grateful for you. Yeah, so many good things. So thank you for joining me tonight. Thank you for watching. And I'd love it if you'd leave me a comment, say hello if you're watching the replay, and I'll be back in a few days, hopefully to make another card. All right, have a great rest of your Monday night. Good night, everybody.